This way.
We're live.
Welcome into Spirit Talk Radio. I'm Vickie Miller, and I have a special guest today. Super excited today. We're going to be talking about Akashic Records, some other things. I'm going to bring on Stephanie and let you introduce yourself. So welcome on, Stephanie.
Hi. We are live. I'm Stephanie Tingle. I am an Akashic Records reader, and I do other readings as well, like oracle cards and some tarot, and just generally working with spirit and doing energetic healings. So we're here mainly to talk about the Akashic Records and answer questions that anybody has.
Yeah, so if you guys are joining in live here, I'm doing something new here. So I'm here on my Facebook fan page, but this will be onto a podcast after here, and it will also go onto my YouTube channel, which I want to remind everybody to go to my YouTube channel because I just did my June predictions, and June's going to be a crazy month. So a very intense month. So make sure you check out and see those. It's under Vickie Miller. Just plug it in there. But before we get started, so yeah, we're going to be talking about Akashic Records for sure, and you can ask some questions. We'll see if we can get some questions here for Stephanie, but make sure they're not like she can't really go and do a personal reading for you right now. That would be something to do and call her up for our private reading afterwards. So just if you want a general question would be great, but we're going to dive deep into Akashic Records. And I just want to start with what they are, because like a lot of people are like, I don't even know what that is. So we're going to start like from the very beginning. You know, nobody knows even what that is. So explain to me what the Akashic Records are.
So the Akashic Records are sort of an energetic warehouse or an energetic library, or an energetic storage field, an etheric realm where the imprints of every action, every word, even if it's something that hasn't come to fruition in your lifetime, every intention you've put out there in this lifetime and every other lifetime.
Sorry, everybody. Hold on. Coming in. Sorry. Go ahead.
So it's, I think probably most of your listeners know that this is not our first go round. We've had, our soul has had other lifetimes. That's my belief and what I've been shown by spirit. So it's not just this lifetime, like the things you've put out energetically in this lifetime, it's since your soul's creation. So everything you've done, said, felt, spoken, or intended from the time your soul was created is housed energetically as an imprint in the Akashic Records. And we can kind of tap into that energy if you know how to. A lot of people will do it kind of accidentally. If you've ever had a dream that you woke up from and you were like, wow, where did that insight come from? Or that solves all my problems. How did that come to me? Or during a meditation, kind of the same thing when we're in that kind of dream state. A lot of times you'll inadvertently access your Akashic Records, but it's nice to be able to do it in a more intentional way so that you're accessing the information you want in a more meaningful way, and it can benefit you rather than just kind of accidentally stumbling into it.
So with the Akashic Records,
where you're going to.
Okay, so with the Akashic Records, so I think of it as, because I've read them before too, where I think of it as a book. Like it's when one of my guides will like share me a book and show me a book, and it's kind of like a book of life. Is right. That what you're kind of saying? Is the book of life, and it also shows your future too. Like it shows what you're here for. It shows your future, or is your future still you get to write your future?
You get to write your future. And that was one of the most interesting things when I started working with the Akashic Records. It will show you potential futures. So it will show you, what the outcome could be based on your current energy and current actions. And if you continue down the same path, but if you want to ask in your records, what would happen if I did this instead? It can show you potential futures. So it's just the energetic imprints of your soul up until now. Like this very moment. But you can kind of, once you're in there asking questions, you can determine what the potential futures might be so that you can follow the best path and make the right action steps.
Okay, and so let's talk about that, because you did do a reading for me, Akashic Record, or you checked out my Akashic Records, and you were saying that each person is, we're here doing different things. Like obviously our soul's here for a purpose. And so the Akashic Records will share with you your soul, what it's here for a purpose. And I remember you saying something like, we all, like, once it's in your soul, that's your every lifetime you're going to continue. So your soul, no matter what lifetime, no matter what body you come into, it's still a imprint of what? To explain that.
And I think what you're talking about is your primary energy center. So we all have like a soul group of origin, which we can talk about too, like where your soul originated and spent time, and that can kind of contribute to personality traits you have in subsequent lifetimes. And then you have your primary energy center, which is something that sticks with you lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And you may, so you were, do you mind me saying what you are?
Oh yeah, no, great, because I forget. I forget what I am. So yeah, no, that's
and I had to, so it's channeled information, so I generally don't retain it after I do a reading for somebody either. So I did have to look yours back up. But you're a divine compassion person, which I think is perfect for you because you have spent your whole life, you know, trying to help people heal and give people guidance and lift people up, especially women and entrepreneurs and that kind of stuff. So divine compassion is perfect for you. There's kind of 8 different types, and what you come in with as a soul, it sticks with you throughout every lifetime, every incarnation of your soul. You specifically will be a divine compassion person. The lessons you learn in each lifetime when you're incarnated may be different. So in one lifetime, you may be the compassionate person like you are in this lifetime. In a different lifetime, you may be learning the opposite polarity of that. So you may be somebody who is not at all compassionate. And that's, I guess, the biggest takeaway from working in the Akashic Records that was such a relief to me is there's no judgment at all on a soul level. I mean, we can't do anything wrong as humans. We're only here to learn. So in another lifetime, if you were learning that opposite polarity or practicing that opposite polarity and you were not a compassionate person at all, that was still perfect because that's what your soul wanted to learn for your soul's purpose. So everything is perfect. We can't do anything wrong, and there's absolutely no judgment.
So with that too, when this, because I know you said you did my kids too, and I remember you were saying something like, and just so everybody knows, there's many different planets. Like we come from many different places, and yeah, I channel aliens, all kinds of stuff. And so anybody thinks that we're just here on Earth, like I've always been here on Earth, there is no way. You have been in so many different places, so many different energies. And so we're embodying our body right now, physically here on Earth. But with that saying, you said that when you have the soul group, you also have, like I remember you doing my kids too, and how we're different in different ways. So not only do you have the soul group, you have different planets, I think you said too, that we're from.
There's like 21. I think we talked about it before, and I wasn't sure how many planets like I had come across, but I kind of counted it up, and there's 21. And I'm sure there's more in the other solar systems and that sort of thing. But there's 21 that I've kind of worked with. And it is interesting, I think, to know, the soul group of origin, because they make people vastly different. The things you pick up, think about it. When you're a baby, the things you learn. So if you think of yourself as an infant in soul form, where you go first, whether it's a peaceful planet or a warlike planet, or whatever the traits of that planet and the beings that you were sort of raised by as a soul, can contribute to personality traits and the way you view things when you're in human form. So it's really interesting, I think, at a bare minimum, to know, our loved ones' primary energy center and soul group of origin. It can really help how you view things, because like you and your daughter are very different. You could just like back up tomorrow, take off, vacation, and she would be like, where are we going and where's my map? And what time will we be there, and where are we stopping along the way, and that sort of thing. And she's the same energy center as I am, so I can totally relate to that. Where you call yourself a woman, it helps to understand, especially when we're raising children, and you've raised 5 kids. It helps to, this one may need this type of discipline. This one may not respond to that at all. It's,
so let's ask about that. So one of the things is, because I was thinking about that and how different my daughter and I totally are, and how different, in my own family I am too. But, I was like, well, it's my kids' fault because they chose me. So maybe I'm a winger. I like
right. Well, and that could be a lesson she decided to learn. She probably chose you. Yeah, absolutely. And don't.
And they need to learn.
Yeah, it's because when we're on the other side and we set up these lessons for ourselves, everything seems easy peasy, and it's just this is our lives are like this on the other side, and it's like, oh, that hard lesson, of course I will set that up for myself. That no big deal. So yeah, she and anybody who does that, anybody who has parents that are really, really polar opposites to how they are, it's a learning experience, and that's why they chose it. So I believe, from what I've been shown during readings, that the birth process and how the parents are chosen is 100% up to the children. They come in when they want, they choose the parents they want. There's nothing we as adults can do about it. That they're going to and come in when they want to. And
I was told I couldn't have kids.
Right.
And I have 5. Yeah. So I was told I couldn't have kids. I have 5. Yeah. All the time with babies. I see them like they choose. You can't make it happen. You can't make yourself get pregnant. So yeah, totally. Because they come in for the reasons, the lessons, and all of those things. So let's go back to, so I remember you said I had a soul group. And then there's a reason why. So that purpose. So is there a purpose that you come in with your soul group? I think you said mine was, I just remember you said something like I drop in different places or something like that. So what is that called?
It's called a blueprinter.
Okay. So blueprinter. Okay.
Yeah. So you're a blueprinter. And then the blueprinters are kind of a different one because they have subsections. There's 3 different subsections of the blueprinter. So you're actually what was called a blueprint changer. So you would drop in. So the blueprinters are the ones, anytime you see historically like a huge jump in evolution or technology, like
right now with the coronavirus.
Right now with seriously, when there's huge energy shift, that's when you will find more blueprinters come in. And it's funny, when I do readings, I'll get like clumps of soul types. I have gotten a lot of blueprinters lately.
So let me ask you that. We're on blueprinters. Is it a certain age? Because you said you get them. So obviously being born right now, a blueprinter would not be helpful. But so is it usually a certain age of people that you see as the blueprinters where, because my age, I've been there, done it, gone through a lot of things, a lot of wisdom, get stuff, just not only do I channel, but been there, done that. So do you see them at a certain age when you say that you need the blueprinters?
It doesn't have to be, but I do think souls tended to populate certain planets at certain times, kind of like there's the different children, like indigo children come in certain waves. Crystal children tend to come in certain waves. You can have one that's much older or much younger, but they come in bigger droves at certain times in history. So a lot of the blueprinters that I've had are 40 to 50 years old. The readings I've done recently. So, they're the ones that came in so that they'd be at an age in their human body when this energetic shift happened, that they'd be able to understand it and go with it and raise their vibration to match it rather than fight against it.
So what you said, so they come in when they are needed. So what do they do? Like all of a sudden, like they're like,
Yeah, like you're a ninja. So, blueprinters as a whole, the larger group of blueprinters, they come in anytime there's a surge in technology or energy or anytime something is needed. So, we might right now be having a lot of that soul group born because it's going to be needed for a really long time. This is not going to be, the energy shift will kind of ebb, but this is like a really big one. I mean, like this changes our earth. So, I may find in 20 years that there were a lot of blueprinters born right now because their energy is needed to kind of power up the planet and keep us all kind of up here so that we shift more easily. And that's, I think you have done a lot of work with like the indigo and crystal and rainbow and different kind of types of kids. And it's kind of that same theory. That is sort of what you choose when you come in as a human. You have that the color ray vibrations, where this is in soul form where you originated. So they're very kind of much alike, but one's once you get to Earth and one's where you originated.
Okay.
But your soul group as a blueprinter would have come in, you know, I don't know if you've looked, I assume you've looked into your past lives. You would have come in around the times of the pyramids when that technology was needed. You would have come in around the time, you would have been present around the time of Atlantis to witness those technological advances. Anytime there's a huge change in energy or technology, or we need evolutionarily with our bodies, like our DNA needs to be shifted, stuff like that, that's when blueprinters come in.
Okay. And what do they do? So I'm just wondering, how do they shift it? Just their energy comes in, you know, like I call my son a Buddha baby. He's a blue rays. Just him coming into the room is just like healing and nurturing. And so is it just their energy shifts things, or like, when is that what you're saying? Like how they change things?
It is their energy, and it's different at different times depending on what the world needs then. So you know, during the time of Atlantis, when there were a lot of your soul group coming in, it would have been for compassion. It would have been to kind of end that wave on the earth and kind of usher in a new wave. Where during the times of the pyramids, it would be more about technology. They would come here with the technology to help the humans that were here at that time and give them sort of assistance and guidance. So it depends on what the earth needs, is what the blueprinters bring.
So let's talk about that right now. So we're in Corona. So, you know, I am a medium energy healer as it is. So I know what I'm here energetically for, but I'm just wondering right now, because we're going through a huge shift in the next 7 years, so you're saying the blueprinters now are, I mean, this is going to be like, this is to me the most major change there has been. Like, it's like going back in the dinosaur years when, you know, dinosaurs all of a sudden took over, you know. So I feel like the ice times, like it's just that big energetically on such a huge level, so fast. Like I think this is just the biggest energy shift there's ever been in all evolution. So fast is what I'm talking about. Like boom, you know, and it's just going to continue to change. So with that being said, because you said you've been seeing some other blueprinters right now. So what do you feel that they're needed for right now? Because this is such a big change going on.
So I feel like right now it's more akin to why they came in during the Atlantean times. It's more to bring wisdom, compassion, kind of a voice of reason, and to help people sort out what they don't need to focus on. Because there's a lot of fear-based energy. So helping people sort that out and go, okay, this is real. This is what we should be focusing on. This is a distraction. Let's let this go. So just using their voices to kind of help people and assist people in sorting out the truth from the fear.
Okay, that makes sense. And then with that being said, so I'm a blueprinter. So there's other different. I think I forget what my kids were. What was Sam? And Sam was do you remember? Do you remember? I can't. And me and my daughter are like night and day. We're like night and day in so many ways, but also so many ways we're just alike, you know. So
right. Well, and that's why she would pick you. You know, you can be opposites and learn from each other, and still love each other and like each other very much. And it's about the learning experience. It was audio, so I don't have theirs here. I was thinking she was. I was thinking Sam was Vega. Does that sound right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, she was the same as you, I think.
She was both of hers were the same as me. Her energy center and so I'm Vega. So it's not super common.
Vega, just so other people,
so Vega's not super common, and Vega is kind of a funny combination of things, because Vega souls end up being in the spotlight even though they don't really love it. So you know, she might find herself at school being the lead in a play, or
she is, and she hates it. She's a natural, and they like and then,
I would be like the leader of whatever club I was in, or you know, my first job I would end up in charge of people that I didn't want to be in charge of. That's Vega people. So
so what is a Vega here to do then?
Do what?
What is a Vega here to do? Like a blueprinter's here to help heal and shift. Compassion.
Vega souls are more just to, they're less action oriented. So the blueprinters are the most action oriented because they don't have a real soul group that travel to kind of where they're needed. So blueprinters would have the most actionable energy, where the other ones just kind of have more like traits. So as a Vega, her job would be more internal, coming to terms with being in the spotlight and knowing that she can use her voice for good, and not being, being more willing to put herself out there, because our souls really thrive when we're kind of put in the spotlight, even though we don't love it.
Okay. And let me ask you this. So there's all different types. So is it one of the things, like when you meet somebody and you're like, you just vibe with them? Like do you feel like, oh, that's my tribe? Like, do you get that feeling if you meet somebody that is the same as you, like, oh, I can just feel that we're the same, like you do in past lives? Like you might meet somebody like, I know I had a past life. So is it the same thing with the Akashic records of your tribe? When you feel them, like, will you know?
I think it depends how energetically in tune you are. Like, I kind of knew ahead of time that Sam's was going to come back the same as mine, and I've not met her in person, but
right.
I've seen photos of her on your social media pages, and I think maybe even videos where I could kind of get an energetic handle on her. But I knew ahead of time when I did that hers was going to be similar to me. And I was laughing about how that she has to live with you because you're so just easygoing. And I was like, oh boy, I know. She picked this for a lesson, but and it will help her be more relaxed as she grows into an adult, and to have you as a mom. So it's the perfect combination. But yeah, sometimes you'll know, but there's so many things on a soul level that can cause us to kind of click with other people, whether it's past lives or that our soul group is the same, or maybe we originated on the same planet, kind of in the same soul family. There's a lot of different things that can cause that feeling.
So let me ask you this too. I know some of my, I know some people over here, some of my clients here might want to ask this. So if you have a child, I have a lot of clients that have some children, and that they've had, some problems going on with their children, for maybe some addictions, or they just always choose the wrong person in their life, or they have a lot of self-worth issues, or confidence issues. Is that because of is there something, if you knew what soul group they were, that you could implement something, or is that something that they choose as the soul group? Is that why it's because of their soul group that they keep on going through this repetitive, behavior and things?
Yeah, it can be. And again, there can be a multitude of reasons. It doesn't always have to do with your soul group or your energy center. It would have that kind of, like an addiction issue would have more to do with your soul group than your energy center. But it could be that, they were from a very kind of dark planet when they originated, and angst is the norm. Having dysfunction was the norm. That's what they thrived on. Well, that doesn't work here on Earth, and causes a lot of pain to a lot of people. So yes, it could absolutely be because of the soul's origination. And those sort of negative traits can be cleared in the Akashic records too. That's the other great thing, is you can put intentions in to clear and heal these things. It's not just like, oh, this is you're stuck with it. You can clear the negative aspects, almost like, if everybody maybe is familiar with doing a cord cutting, it doesn't wipe your memory out. Everything's still there. It just clears the attachment and the negative energetic aspects. So things can be cleared in the Akashic records, but that sort of thing, like an addiction issue, I find it can be due to the soul's origination. It can also be due to like the primary energy center wanting to learn the opposite polarity of it. Like say you're a divine truth person and you're here and you're an addict, and that causes you to live in non-truth a lot and, lie to people you love and that sort of thing. That would be experiencing the opposite polarity of it, which again, on a soul level is still perfect, even though it's very difficult on a human level to deal with. But those things also can be, addiction issues can be due to past life issues.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So a lot of my healings, I'll actually clear a past life. So if has addictions or whatever, I see a past life where, you know, they had an addiction problem there, and I just clear that and it clears them now. So then they actually are healed. So that's what I was wondering, if it comes in from there. So then you're saying that it can also, the healing of the past life can also heal, go into the Akashic records and kind of reset them or clear them too.
Yeah. And I always, when I'm in there, I put the intention in and kind of do a healing process while I'm in there. And I find, and I think this is maybe why you were drawn to do your healings as audios. Maybe not, but I do mine as audios because there's kind of like a healing vibration contained in the spoken word, in the audio. So, you know, when I go in, when I'm in the records and I'm recording this and I'm putting that healing intention in there, when my client plays it, they're getting that healing just like they were there with me, and just like it's happening right then. And if they need to listen to it every night for a month to really get that energetic shift in their human body, then, and normally the records will tell them, like the guides when I'm in the records will say, you need to listen to this repeatedly. This is something that's going to help you. These are our suggestions. So, you know, they're very good about making suggestions about healing too. But when I put that intention in there and then you listen to it, it causes or helps cause a shift, because we can do all the healing we want energetically, but it's still up to the person who's receiving it to integrate that physically in the third dimension through whatever action steps are recommended. You can't just energetically say, boom, you're healed, and you are at this level, but you still have to integrate it into your physical body. So, you know, the records are really great for putting those intentions in there, and then listening kind of integrates it into the physical body.
So somebody also asked on here, I saw them ask, this is a great question, is how old is their soul? So I want you to, because, you know, everybody's different and everything. So do you see in the Akashic records, can you see that when you're going into there?
So my answer to that would be, your soul is infinity years old, because I think everybody's soul is infinite. How many lives you've had is a different story. So yes, I can go back and see how many past lives you've had.
And can you go, so with that, can you also see the future?
Potential future. Again, it's the records are just till right now. Like this very word that I spoke is now recorded energetically. Nothing in the future now.
Okay, so you're playing out as you go forward, and then the pathway is just the same as manifesting. You have many different choices, pathways, and
right.
Then, you know,
and it does help to know your potential futures. Like we can go into the records and say, would I be better off staying at my current job, or should I completely switch gears and go with this? And I can kind of look at the potential futures, what the records say, this is what would happen if you stay. This is what potentially could happen if you follow this path instead. And then you can have a little more information to base your action steps on.
So that's a great question. So our group that we come in as, our soul group, and then you say we have an energy point too. Is there a purpose? I mean, obviously my purpose is what you said, is the compassion and healing, but is there something there that can help us learn, like, oh, this job would be great for us, or this job is just not, we're not going to thrive at this job, or is that our free will?
Yeah. And that would be more related to your primary energy center. So, you know, somebody who's divine order, like me and like your daughter Sam, is not going to do well not having a schedule. It doesn't mean we can't work for ourselves or that sort of thing, but it would be more regimented than somebody who, say, is a...
Like me?
Like you.
I wing everything, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does have a lot to do with your primary energy center. Somebody whose divine power is going to be, which is the 7th energy center, is going to really need to be in a leadership position. I mean, if they're subservient to other people as an employee, their soul's not going to thrive. It doesn't mean you can't make it and get a paycheck and pay your bills, but your soul's not going to thrive unless you're in alignment with what your primary energy center is. Somebody who's divine wisdom, which is the 8th energy center, is going to do better maybe as a teacher. Somebody who leads.
And what is the divine energy? What is that? Because I remember this whole
energy center. So that's what it's called, primary energy center. That's what yours is, divine compassion. So
So what's that mean? That means I'm just to be obviously be like like I do my energy healings and love, and I call myself love all the time. I'm like, I'm just love. So
Yeah.
you're saying that's the reason why I've been feeling that and express that. And I don't judge people. I just love people.
Correct.
No,
Yeah, and so there's yours, which is divine compassion. There's also one that is divine love. And what I found the difference between the two is divine love people are here to focus more on loving themselves so they can put that out, where divine compassion people, it's more actionable. You're here to work with other people about compassion, about love. Like you're saying, I am love. Well, your job on a soul level is to show other people that they are love too. And you do that by healing them on a soul level so that they recognize that in themselves. So everybody, and if you tried to go be, I'm trying to think what the opposite of compassion is. If you tried to, this is not the opposite of compassion, but if you tried to go work a 9-to-5 job at a correctional facility, there's a lot of fear-based energy, bad energy. Like, look at your face when I said that. That would not vibe with your primary energy center. So yeah, if you have somebody who's divine wisdom who's not sharing that wisdom, it's going to stifle them on a soul level. If you have somebody who is divine communication, that's a big one for people. They need to speak their truth. They need to be, professors at the front of a class. They need to lead workshops. They need to, even if it's the written word or a blog, if they stifle themselves creatively and don't write or speak, they are not going to fulfill themselves on a soul level. And again, you can make a living, but it's so helpful to know this information and go, oh, with a few tweaks, I don't have to overhaul my whole life, but I could move to this department in the business I work in and I'd have a lot more creative freedom. Or I could move to this job and I would be able to speak a lot more. That does resonate with me. So I think it's really helpful to know who we are at a soul level and then kind of fit things into that rather than trying to fit ourselves into things that don't work.
So yeah, well then let's talk about relationships, because I know a lot of people want to talk about relationships too then. So if you're a specific soul group and you're with another person, just like you said, totally how me and my daughter, like we're total opposites. I know that she works better on a schedule. I do not. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I cannot imagine a 9-to-5 job. Like, you just would kill me right now. Like it would just like suck me dry. So with relationships and knowing what the other person is would really be beneficial. But are you going to thrive with a specific, in a loving partner, I'm going to say, or a spouse? Are you going to thrive in a relationship with somebody that, like, once you learn their group, that has specific ways about them? Are you going to thrive more? Or does it really matter?
I think anybody can thrive if there's love present. I mean, like, if two people love each other, it's more about understanding. And I don't know if you're familiar with the love languages. There's a book about the love languages, and it's been years since I read it, but it was pretty helpful. So it's kind of like that. It's like, oh, okay, I understand that you're a divine communication person. You might need me to say things verbally or write them down to communicate really well. And the other person could be a divine truth person. So I would say, okay, I know I can't just talk about what I want to do with this person. I need to wait until I've firmed up my plan, because they need to know that what I say is the truth. And when I say I'm going to be there, I will. So that's what's important to them. So it's kind of like the love languages, where once you know how the other person works, you can adjust your way of communication to be more suitable. And it works both ways. I mean, you have to have a partner that's somewhat open to doing that. But I think that's in any relationship, you have to have a partner that's willing to kind of, there has to be some give and take. But yeah, once you know what the other person is, it's like, oh, that's why they do that. Well, it would be easy enough for me to just do this instead. It's easier, rather than being upset and wondering why they do things, knowing how and why they do things on a soul level. It makes people more compassionate, I think.
Right. Yeah. So then so you said, how many centers are there? You said there was 8?
There's 8.
There's 8. And so let's just say, and we're coming up here shortly, but let's just say, what are the 8? Like, what are the 8 different ones?
You have compassion, which is you. You have manifestation, which is your sun, which is just like the people that are lucky. They're generally pretty relaxed because they don't have any fear of not getting anything. So they're just like, everything's going to be provided to me. Why would I worry about anything? And they are go-getters usually, but it's not like they're just sitting waiting to be waited on, but they inherently feel like there's no lack. So they have no fear of losing anything. So they're more willing to kind of try things. So that's the divine manifestation. You have divine order, which is me and your daughter, which we just kind of need to know things in advance, need to make lists for ourselves, and cross things off is very helpful. Then you have divine love, which is similar to your energy center, but more internally focused. They're here to focus more on self-love and bettering themselves. Divine communication, which I just kind of talked about, is really important to have either oral or written communication as part of their vocation or their career, or a big part of their life. If they're not working, it still has to be a big part of their life. So blogging, journaling, that sort of thing is big for divine communication people. You have divine truth. Those are a lot of times the people you will find protesting things, really trying to spread the message of what is truth. But what you have to remember is truth is subjective. My truth is not your truth. I mean, and we're showing that very clearly right now by the protesters. Both sides feel they're right.
It's an opinion.
On a soul level, they are both right. It's right. What resonates with them. It is right for them. Right. So divine truth people need to remember that it's great to put your voice out there and be heard and really speak out for what you believe in, but always remember there's another side and somebody that feels equally as strongly that they are right.
Were they very opinionated people too? Are they very opinionated?
Generally, okay. Yeah. Divine truth. You have to hear their truth. Yes.
Yeah. And then their truth is the only way there is. I'm like, okay, yeah. That's an opinion. Okay, yeah.
That's true. For most of them, I mean, unless they're really, awake and recognize that in themselves. So that'd be great. Yeah. Divine power people are generally business people, people who are very driven, workaholics. They like to kind of rise to the top of the career they're in, that sort of thing. Power is very important. And that's not a negative thing. It's just how they are. And then divine wisdom, which you would think would be like divine truth, but divine wisdom is that kind of energetic vibration that is above truth, that says, I recognize that truth is subjective, and I'm only going to look at the wisdom in this situation and what can be learned from it rather than the actual opinions.
So that's the 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see Katrina over here says, I'm a Vega with an overtone from Alpha Centaur. What is that?
Centauri, Alpha Centauri. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that?
So a Vega, which is what I am and what your daughter is, which we kind of talked about, the being in the spotlight thing. Then she has that with divine love and healing, which means that she, on a soul level, would be best off being a healer and putting that out into the spotlight. So really kind of marketing herself and doing that, making things that take her out, doing things that take her out of her comfort zone, I guess is how I want to say it.
Yep, I know exactly what you're saying. Katrina's probably looking at that, but yeah, I've known her a long time.
Like, my computer has glitched. I can't hear any of this. But yeah, anything that kind of takes her out of her comfort zone will connect that Vega energy of needing to be in the spotlight with the divine love and being a natural healer. And the 4th energy center people, they, like I said, they do need to work on themselves a lot more to feel that they are worthy of being able to heal others, like that they have the ability to do that. Where you, being a divine compassion, recognize that on a soul level when you came in. This is who I am. I am love. I can heal. Divine love people like Katrina need to start with self-love so that they do feel worthy of putting that energy out there and they feel confident and competent in saying, you know, I can heal others.
So a lot of my clients, so let's talk about that, because a lot of my clients, especially me being a healer and everything, and I'm always teaching this too, is self-love. Like, and a lot of, especially women that are mothers and, you know, taking care of everybody else, they have a really hard time giving themselves self-love, or they think that, you know, it's being selfish, you know, and so giving yourself self-love, I mean, is that something, a dynamic, no matter what your soul, maybe it's just harder for some people, like you said, like Katrina, a certain energy, so it's going to be harder for those people than, you know, I mean, I think everybody is always working on self-love,
right?
I mean, I do myself, but of course I still have my moments where I'm like, I gotta do some self-love here, but I think that's a big strong point for a lot of my clients, is always they feel selfish, or they feel like, oh, they shouldn't be giving to themselves. So are you saying that could also be a part of your soul group where it's going to be even harder? Because what is that? You're saying that's her fourth divine center. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I kind of have a number, and she knows which one's which. Katrina does. So divine love, hers would be the one that is most connected to the lesson of self-love. So it can go, you know, I have issues with it, and I'm a divine order person. It can affect any energy center, but hers, it would be a lesson. So I guess that's the difference. Okay. Yeah. So hers would really be a lesson. But I also wanted to say, she mentioned that she has an overtone from Alpha Centauri. So sometimes when our souls originate, we go right away and spend more time in a different planet. And that's what that is. So Alpha Centauri is like super mentally oriented, super organized, super support system for others.
She's an amazing assistant. She is my my rock.
Yeah, she's very good, so she needs to be in the spotlight. But her actual, like, most of her, so what makes her so comfortable and feel valuable is the Alpha Centauri stuff of being organized, disciplined, mentally oriented. I can do this for you at this, you know, and I can have this ready for you, and that's very resonant for her on a soul level.
But you know what's kind of funny? I just want to bring this up. I have a lot of friends that are intuitive and healers and readers and, you know, psychic and everything, and mediums, and we're all a mess. Like, so to have somebody, so I'm just like, normally, I'm going to say not all of them, but most healers and psychics are a mess. Like they are not organized. They cannot, you know, you even go into their, like, my house is only clean when my cleaners come. And then it's just like, I'm this hurricane that goes throughout the whole house, you know, and it's funny because I was talking to my friend about this, that is also very intuitive psychic. And she's like, isn't every psychic healer a mess? And I'm like, I thought of it. And I'm like, well, all my friends are like, they just don't have, because I think you're in spiritual world so much, or you're in the energy so much, that the organization isn't a part of that energy or brain or stuff. But is what's amazing is Katrina, she is an amazing healer, and she's an amazing assistant, and she's Katrina, you're listening to me, so I can tell you that she really surprised me, because she is an amazing healer, but she has that organization. I mean, she gets me organized and gets me, you know, grounded.
And that's because of her soul, where she originated. Like, those are inherent traits in her that, if she utilizes them, really make her feel valuable on a soul level. And like, I'm super intuitive and I'm pretty super organized, but I'm a divine order person. So I always have everything organized. So I think it does depend. I would say yes, for the most part, intuitives. I have a lot of intuitive friends too, and they drive me nuts. But just because they're less grounded, more energetically sensitive. And I would say I'm the exception. Like, most intuitives are more like that, you know, just go with the flow of the energy. I would say I'm the oddball, where it's because of my energy center that I have to stay coordinated. I mean, I schedule readings, I print them out, I highlight them, I know when I'm going to do them. I have to do that because that's what makes me comfortable on a soul level. If I didn't do that, I would feel uncomfortable.
Right. So the Akasha records, then the biggest thing is to get an Akasha record. reading. It's going to help you. And let's go through your reading, because you did a reading for me. You did a voice one, just like how I do my healings. I record it by voice, and you recorded yours by voice too. And how long does it, like, how do you go there? Obviously you're tapping into the Akashic records and intuitively. How long does it take to go there? Tell us about your readings and how they will help people and how you do it.
So my process is, and I access the records a couple different ways. I mean, there's different, so the information as far as like the divine, your primary energy center and like where you originated, I do differently than the channeled reading, which is what I sent you the audio about. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's all the Akashic records, but the access points are a little different, if that makes sense. Like where you tune to is a little different. So the first thing I do for any full reading when I'm reading for somebody is I find out I spend a little bit of time in meditation, I guess, if you want to know from the very beginning. I spend a little bit of time in meditation, and then I access the records using full name, date of birth, to kind of tune into your specific record, your volume or your book. And then the first thing I do is find out your soul group of origin and your primary energy center. Because a lot of times people will send me questions, and right off the bat, I know the answers to the questions just based on, where they originated or what their primary energy center is. But so I'll let them know that information and then go further in and kind of channel any information my guides from the Akashic records want to pass along, or just kind of, I, as an intuitive, tend to get information as what I call screaming audio. So it's just kind of, constant. So I just pass along everything I get. If I get visuals, I pass those along, because sometimes they don't mean anything to me, but they do to the person. So anything I get when I'm in there in that channeled information, I just record and pass along. And then if there's any healing intentions that need put in, to, take something out of the way the soul originated or a past life or anything like that, so they can move forward, then I put that intention in and then send them everything. And then we kind of get back together if they have any questions afterwards.
Okay. And how can people get a hold of you?
My website is my name. It is just stephanietingle.com. And that's kind of, you can find everything from there. I'm on YouTube. I do a weekly energy reading every Sunday. If you want to join me on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook under Mount Hood Mystic, because I live right by Mount Hood. But everything, if you just go to stephanietingle.com, everything is on there.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for, we tried to have a radio show a couple weeks ago, and there was all kinds of craziness, and thank God we did it this time like this. Yeah. So thank you so much for being on here, and we will have you back too. So have a fab. I'm so excited too, because I want to do also my boyfriend. I forgot to tell you that the other day. So I'm excited.
I've been wanting to do him too. Yeah. And there was one more thing. I don't know if we're completely out of time. When we were talking about addiction at the beginning of this, one thing I wanted to mention is a lot of people have like food, body image, or weight issues. And I tend to get a lot of those people because I used to be much heavier. Until about 6 years ago, I was almost 120 pounds heavier.
Yeah, real fast.
I feel like we could do a whole show on like weight, body image, and food issues. If anybody is, you can gauge interest in that, and then we can chat about that maybe. But it's a big thing, kind of unraveling those really deep reasons for that. If you haven't been able to figure it out on a physical level, sometimes the records can help with uncovering those issues.
So that can also help too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, excited. And Katrina just posted too, for those of you that are listening to my podcast, not here live, you're giving 20% off code to listeners. It says click on the link, book your reading, and use the code Vickie.
Yeah, I think that's on your Facebook page too. But June 8th, which I think is Monday, is my birthday, and I'm kind of into flash sales. So if everybody watches my page, I might do a flash sale on my birthday. Thank you.
Okay, so everybody reach out to Stephanie. You got a flash sale, you got another sale, so it sounds amazing. Thank you again for being on the show.
Sure.
Yeah, all right, everybody have a magical day. Make sure to check out my June predictions on my YouTube channel, Vickie Miller. And I'm also starting a weekly reading what's coming up with the energy. And I already posted this week. So make sure to be on my newsletter. Go to my website, VickieManuel.com, because I have a whole bunch of goodies coming out on that too. And Katrina just posted Stephanie's website and a whole bunch of goodies there too. So you can find us here on Facebook.
Because she's so organized.
I know. Yeah. Without her, I would not. Yeah, I am not organized. So have a magical day, everybody. See you later, Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye.